The Usos defend their undisputed tag team championships. It's Kurt Angle's birthday celebrations, and we have the contract signing for the Intercontinental Championship match. All this and more on SmackDown Breakdown. Hey guys, how you all doing? The Wrestling Guy back here today, and welcome to another episode of SmackDown Breakdown, the series where we have a look at everything that's happened on this week's episode of SmackDown, talk about the matches, the promos, all of the other bits and pieces that have happened on this week's episode. We're going to break it all down for this video here today, guys. So if you guys do go on to enjoy, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, turn on that little notification bell so you don't miss any of the content coming up on the channel over the next couple of weeks. My sincere apologies for the absence of the Dynamite debrief episode. That video has had a few technical errors, but we are working on it, and it is going to be coming up very shortly within the next couple of hours. So if you guys do want to go and check that out still, that will be up on the channel for you guys to go and view in a couple of hours time. But let's have a look at what's happened on this week's episode of SmackDown then. So we would kick things off with the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match between Sheamus and Butch and the Usos. So what a way to kick off this week's episode of SmackDown. There's no better way to kick off a show than with a title match, and it's for the tag team titles. The defending champions, the Usos, the challengers, they're no stranger to the Usos as challengers, Sheamus and Butch. This was originally supposed to be Sheamus and McIntyre, I believe, but McIntyre has received an injury in War Games. Therefore, Butch has stepped up, and they will be going up to see if they can dethrone the Usos as the tag champions. This was, like I said, an absolute fantastic start to the show. Both teams we know work really well together. We've seen them have title matches in the past. We've seen them have matches in the past as well. This rivalry has kind of been going on for a couple of weeks now. And both teams have been doing a fantastic job over on the SmackDown brand. Absolutely fantastic showing by all four of these guys in War Games as well. So this storyline is really starting to get a little bit of spice going into this one. It was a competitive match. Sheamus and Butch putting in their fair share of offense. The Usos would, however, end up picking up the victory, hitting an absolutely perfect 1D. I love the 1D. It's fantastic. The Usos are by far my favourite tag team in wrestling at the moment. They are absolutely fantastic. So they hit the 1D, an interference from Sami Zayn. Who doesn't love Sami Zayn at the moment? But Sami Zayn caused a distraction, and Jimmy and Jay pick up the win to retain their undisputed tag titles and continue their historic reign as champions. Absolutely brilliant. All four of these guys putting in an absolutely fantastic performance. Butch and Sheamus getting a fair share of offense in there. The Usos doing what only they know how to do best, and absolutely stealing the show and the match. Sheamus, I just want to talk about Sheamus quickly. One of the greatest resurgences of a superstar that we have ever seen in WWE. He came into WWE sort of 2008, 2009 time. He was dominant. The first Irish-born WWE champion. He won the King of the Ring, and he was pursuing going that forward. Then he won Money in the Bank a couple of years later. He won the title again then. Brief spells with the World Heavyweight title between that period. Sheamus was great. Everyone loved the Great White. Then it went through a couple of stages where it started to become a bit of a laughing stock. Then he's joined Cesaro and formed the Bar, which was amazing. I was a big fan of the Bar. And then Sheamus kind of fell a little bit flat. This is an absolutely fantastic resurgence from the Great White on here. I personally think out of the four, Sheamus was the best wrestler in this match. He really knows what he's doing to work the crowd. He really knows. You can tell he's kind of the veteran of the group. He's just did an absolutely fantastic job, and he works really well alongside Butch as well. Like I said, the Usos and the Brawling Brute seem to really know how to work well together. So yeah, big thumbs up from the Wrestling Guy for this one. A cracking way to kick off the show. Sami Zayn as well. He always adds that extra bit of X factor for the Bloodline and the Usos as well. His antics at ringside. Certain things he's doing, like yanking on the ring apron, and it just kind of helped to intensify the drama and the suspense of the match as well. Sami Zayn did a great job. Absolutely brilliant. What a way to kick things off. Coming up next then, we had LA Knight call out Bray Wyatt. So we all know this storyline has been building up over the past couple of weeks. LA Knight kind of antagonizing and provoking Bray Wyatt. Back and forth these guys have been going. LA Knight would come down to the ring, eager to call out Bray Wyatt because of the sneak attacks that have left him injured over the last month. LA Knight, the story's kind of been unfolding with him over the past couple of weeks. He was Max Dupree with the Maximum Male Models. He then decided to leave them, go out on his own. LA Knight returned and basically turned his back on the fans, which is a shame to see. But LA Knight, I still think he's absolutely fantastic. Would love to see him be put in the Intercontinental Championship picture at some point as well, because LA Knight is absolutely fantastic. But there has been this thing going on with Bray Wyatt. LA Knight keeps getting attacked backstage and things like that. And Bray Wyatt wanted, and LA Knight wanted to call out Bray Wyatt and address what's been going on. A video interrupted LA Knight's promo though, featuring Uncle Howdy urging Wyatt to do it, and that LA Knight deserves it. It ended with Uncle Howdy suggesting the door is closing. This Bray Wyatt storyline is starting to get really, really interesting now. And this episode, it kind of intensified the storyline a little bit more. What really struck out to me is that LA Knight is actually starting to get concerned about these rumors and these threats and these statements that are being made by this Uncle Howdy character. You can see in his mannerisms and the way that he's kind of acknowledging, he's paying attention to everything that this Uncle Howdy character is saying, and everything Bray Wyatt's saying as well. Another thing I wanted to point out as well is in the Uncle Howdy video, we heard a woman's voice, and it was almost echoing everything Uncle Howdy was saying. While it's not impossible, I think that this voice sounded a lot like Alexa Bliss. I don't know, that may just be my mind completely moving things around, twisting things, no pun intended, but I think that this voice sounded just like Alexa Bliss. The same Bliss who was kind of the subject of the mind games of Bray Wyatt back before, when they were doing the Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt kind of storyline. Now, I feel like I've said this every single week since Bray Wyatt's return on SmackDown, but Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, it's not the pairing that I think a lot of fans would have gone for straight off the bat. I don't think LA Knight would have been the obvious choice, but this is really working and they're doing an absolutely fantastic job. Some really solid storytelling that's going on every single week by both of these guys. It's going to end up resulting in a match, hopefully at some point, but let's not rush it. Let's let this build up a little bit more, and we'll see what happens maybe in the new year with this storyline. Up next then we had Hit Row, and they would come down and interrupt the match that was the next tag match. It was Viking Raiders versus Legado del Fantasma. So the Viking Raiders have recently returned, Viking Raiders along with Sarah Logan, who is now called Valhalla. Got to get used to saying that. Viking Raiders have looked dominant since they returned, like I said in, I think it was last week's episode. I think that the Viking Raiders are hot contenders to be in line for the tag titles at some point. We will see. They'd be going up against one of my favourite groups in WWE at the minute, Legado del Fantasmas, Del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde, obviously accompanied by Zelina Vega and Santos Escobar. Before the match could really get underway though, Top Dollar, B-Fab, and Ashante Adonis would come down to the ring and attack the Raiders from behind. It was nice to see these three teams kind of feature in the segment. I wouldn't be surprised if this is maybe setting up for a three-way #1 contender tag title match maybe. Hit Row, Legado del Fantasma and the Viking Raiders. I would love to see that. Let me know down below in the comment section if you guys would like to see that. That'd be really good. Nice to see all these three teams consistently on SmackDown at the moment, consistently on TV. Three really, really good teams. A lot of people are saying Hit Row's not the same, obviously with the absence of Isaiah Scott. I think that they're doing a fantastic job. The three of them are working really, really well together. With Legado del Fantasma, putting Zelina Vega with them was a fantastic choice. She is absolutely a perfect fit on there. And the Viking Raiders, like I said, the new and improved Viking Raiders, absolutely brilliant on there. So obviously this match would end in a no contest. It never really got underway, but I think that this is setting up for something big in the future. So keep an eye out here on the channel as we break down the next couple of weeks for SmackDown, because I think this could start getting interesting. Coming up next, then we had the contract signing for the Intercontinental Championship match between the winner of the World Cup, Ricochet and Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion. So this would start off as a contract signing, but then we would see Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston come down to the ring. They would come down to the ring, and they'd be they would back up the one and only who was getting confronted by Imperium. This would result in a match. So the next match would be Ricochet and the New Day versus Imperium. A 6-man tag match. We all love a 6-man tag match on there. Absolutely fantastic stuff. All 6 guys doing an absolutely great job. 6 really talented in-ring stars anyway. The action was absolutely fantastic all the way through. You got high flyers, you got your Ricochets, your Kofi Kingstons. You got your technical wrestlers in there like your Xavier Woods, your Giovanni Vinci, and you got your hard hitters like Gunther as well. This was this did everything it needed to do on there. This highlighted obviously New Day, who we now know will challenge Pretty Deadly for the NXT tag titles this Saturday at NXT Deadline. We'll see on there, maybe just getting a little bit of momentum going in on there. But we will see. This was a good opportunity as well for them to highlight Ricochet as a potential threat to Gunther's Intercontinental title. Will he be able to get the job done though? We know how dominant Gunther is. We know what he's like as a champion. We saw how long he had the United Kingdom title for. Will it be the same story with the IC title? Let me know down below in the comment section. Do you think Ricochet can beat Gunther? Let me know in the comments. Ricochet and the New Day would end up winning this match, defeating Imperium. This was absolutely brilliant on here. Let's see what happens with this in the next couple of weeks. Kingston and Woods, after the match, would pay tribute to the late Jason David Frank with green and white Power Ranger inspired gear, which looked absolutely amazing, by the way. If they ever do action figures of those, I would be going straight down to my local toy store and picking those up because they will look absolutely fantastic. Really like when they do these tribute attires. Really good on there. Backstage, the Street Profits and the Alpha Academy had another confrontation, this time at Kurt Angle's birthday festivities. So, more of that later on in the episode. But yeah, another 2 teams to keep an eye on there. Street Profits, Alpha Academy. Another 2 good choices on there. Up next then, we had another tag match, but this time it was on the women's side of things. We had Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. So, just before we get into this one, backstage, Karrion Kross issued a warning to his new target, Rey Mysterio. He was staring at his injured foot. We obviously know that Rey Mysterio is out of injury. He was in the medical room. And this would become clear that Karrion Kross would turn around to Roman Reigns and to Rey Mysterio, and say, "When a horse is injured, you put him down." TikTok. Wow. Absolutely brilliant there. Very few words, but with such impact. Absolutely brilliant to see what happens on there in the coming weeks. Rey Mysterio and Karrion Kross. I'd pay to see that. That would be absolutely fantastic. Back in the ring then. Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox would make their way down to the ring. So we know from last week's episode that Tegan Nox has returned to the WWE and she's aligned herself with Liv Morgan. Absolutely brilliant on there. They'd be going up against Shayna Baszler and the SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey. As you would predict, Shayna and Ronda dominated the early part of this matchup, isolating Nox a lot from Liv Morgan. Late in the match, Raquel Rodriguez would make her way down to the ring. Of course, she would distract Ronda Rousey, allowing Nox to deliver the shiniest wizard to Shayna Baszler for the pinfall victory. This is setting up for Raquel Rodriguez and Ronda Rousey. We've said it for multiple weeks now. This is almost inevitable now. They're kind of making it blatantly obvious. But yeah, if I'm honest, this took massively away from the match again. It seemed a bit of a backwards booking on here by WWE. It made Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox look like amateurs. It looked like they needed a distraction or just pick up the victory. And it's just intensifying the Raquel Rodriguez Ronda Rousey storyline, which we all know is going to happen. So I think it's almost getting to the stage now. You almost want them to just get it done. If you're gonna do it, just pull the trigger, get it done. But we'll see. But anyway, Nox and Morgan picking up the tainted victory there. We'll see if anything happens in the coming weeks with this. And then backstage, we had another Lacey Evans video teasing her second reboot this year. Obviously, going back to basics gimmick that she was saying about last week. Hopefully we'll see her back maybe in the Rumble. That'd be a good place, I think. And we would finish things off for this week's episode of SmackDown with Kurt Angle's birthday celebration. So we did find out on Raw earlier this week that Kurt Angle would be coming down to the ring on SmackDown to have a birthday celebration. This was not good. I'm just going to start by saying this was not good. Shades of what last time we saw Kurt Angle in WWE, he would be interrupted by Chad Gable and Usos of the Alpha Academy. They would come down to the ring. They'd dominate a lot of the segment, leaving Angle without any real significance. It kind of felt like Angle didn't really even need to be there for this. The Alpha Academy seemed to take over quite a lot. He went to the back. Kurt Angle would end up going back, and he'd be coming down to the ring with the Olympic gold medalist, Gabe Stevenson. Me and the chairman of the board spoke about this a couple of days ago, actually, about where is Gable Stevenson? Where is he? What's going on with him? He's back. Gabe Stevenson is back. But are we going to see anything from him, or is this just a one-off appearance with Kurt Angle? We shall see. But they proceeded to douse the heels in milk. We rarely heard anything from Kurt Angle in the statement. He didn't say anything. He didn't address his hometown fans. It was a continuation of, like I said, what Angle did last time he was with the company, where the Alpha Academy wanted Kurt Angle to join them. I think that Kurt Angle deserved a bit better than this, in my opinion. If they were going to do a birthday celebration, they could have done it a little bit better than how they did. But it did what it needed to do on there, so that's all good. It did make Gable look good, though. I think this is setting up for Chad Gable, and Gable Stevenson. That's a bit of a mouthful. And I think that this is an opportunity for them to really bring Gable Stevenson back into the picture. We saw him, I think it was at WrestleMania, where he delivered that throw to Chad Gable. But I think that this could have been done a lot better. I think Triple H kind of shot the ball in his own net a little bit with this. I think that this is probably the worst TV segment that Triple H has done since his takeover. But without further ado, that is the end of this week's episode of SmackDown. Really hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you did. We are approaching the end of 2022 now. Let's see if we can end on a high next week and the week after. But hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.